Well, welcome back, brothers and sisters. And I put out this video earlier about the mind-blowing connection between 722, the word I'd received, and Shemini Atzeret, which is the 22nd day of the 7th month on the Hebrew calendar, the spiritual calendar. As you know, Israel has plenty of calendars. They have a civil calendar and a spiritual calendar. And I did a lot of research in the past few days. But the most important thing is that, I've been blessed to have mentors, who are deep into scripture studies. For example, one of my spiritual mentors is a sister called Sister Kay, and she lives in Panama, and we're in constant touch. And whenever I'm going wrong, she always stops me, okay, and she says, "Hey, Pearl, don't forget the ancient paths." And I said, what about the ancient paths? And she corrected me because the calendar I showed in this was showing the new moons and the full moons. And she was absolutely aghast at that. And she corrected me. And I would like to share what, she said to me. And I completely believe that what Sister K said is absolutely correct. Okay. So I'll just play a bit of this because it's a 16-minute recording. And I'll just listen to this, guys, okay?
The new moon is a renewed moon. It doesn't even make sense to say that it's the full moon. I think another key to understanding that would be Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith the Lord, stand in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. It's just like,
Okay, I'm going to play a little more of this because it's extremely interesting, okay? Because she's a girl who keeps the Sabbaths, okay? And she has to know when the full moon, when the new moon is, which starts the count from day 1. Because to keep the Sabbath, you have to know when is day 1 to reach day 7. So here's something very interesting that she also said. Okay, let me start it here. Listen to this.
I guess an easy way for me to explain that would be think about Passover. Okay, when Passover and the way that it's explained is it's the 14th day of the first month. Okay, so again, if you're going to say it's the 14th day of the first month, how can you say you have to know what the first day is to know what the 14th day is? You can't count to 14 without starting with 1. And the scriptures are very, very clear that the number 1 day is the new moon. So, and during the Passover was a full moon. In fact, every Passover is a full moon. Every first day.
Okay, so essentially you get the point, right? This made complete sense to me because I'll tell you why. Because it's clearly given that Passover is the 14th day of the first month, and Passover always comes on a full moon. It always has, it always will. So if you go by a full moon calendar which says the first day of the month is a full moon, that's ridiculous because then Passover cannot be on the 14th day of the month and it cannot be the full moon. And if you look at Leviticus, Passover is always given as the 14th day of the first month. I was so blind that I didn't see this. Thank goodness. I feel so blessed to have such amazing mentors in my life. And that whenever I'm going a little off track, they bring me back to the ancient paths. Okay. So I did a lot of research, brothers and sisters. I spent a lot of time in research, and here's what I found. Lots of different calendars, all right? Like tons of different calendars, all Jewish calendars, okay? And I looked at the Enoch's calendar, okay, which is essentially a solar calendar, all right? Let me bring this down, okay? So they don't go by the new moons, and Enoch calendar is basically a solar calendar, is what I learned. Then, of course, you have the Hepcal. Then, of course, you have the Shabbat.org calendar. And then you have the creation calendar, okay, which is called the Torah calendar, which I had been looking at for a while now, all right? But, okay, so this is the creation calendar, okay, the Torah calendar, all right, because this shows the Hebrew months which begin at each new moon, all right? Just as Sister Kay had pointed out, that the new moons have to be the first of every month because the full moon has to arrive 14 days later, and Passover is always on a full moon. Okay? No one can mess with that. I don't know how I didn't see that before. Oops. Okay, so now getting back to this, I also had a sort of a epiphany, okay, like a light bulb moment that you remember the blood moon tetrads, right, of 2014 and 2015, right? Okay, so I decided that whichever calendar, okay, would show us, you know, whichever calendar that the blood moons fell on Passover Sukkot, all right, that would be the calendar that I would follow because obviously God is using that calendar. He put out these blood moons as an alarm to the world, as a sign to the world, all right, and obviously the calendar which shows the blood moons falling on Passover Sukkot, that's the calendar to watch because that's the calendar God is using, all right, out of all the myriad calendars. So what did I find? I checked all the calendars. The blood moons did not fall on Passover Sukkot on any other calendar. Okay. I checked them all. Not on Hepcal, not on Shabbat, definitely not on Enoch, but it did fall on the creation calendar on Passover Sukkot. And it would take ages to plug in these dates, all right, of the blood moons. So I just took screenshots to save time. And look at this, all right? Okay, so let's first check out the blood moons, all right? So we have April 15th and April 4th, okay? These two blood moons fell on 2014 and 2015, all right? Just remember these dates, April 15th and April 4th. Both fell on Passover. So let's take a look at Torah calendar. April 15th, check. Blood moon falls on Passover, check. Okay, and now let's look at the next Passover. Right, 4th April, Passover. Blood moon falls on Passover. Check. Okay. Next thing. Let's look at these two Sukkots. Alright, these two blood moons falling on Sukkot. October 8th and September 28th. Okay, keep this in mind. Because what I found here was amazing that these blood moons, they fell on Sukkot, but a day before the Erev Sukkot. Okay. And this is amazing too. Both fell a day before Erev Sukkot. Look at this. 8th October, the day before Erev Sukkot. Okay? And then look at this. Over here, 28th September, a day before Erev Sukkot. So this is the only calendar, okay, absolutely amazing that these blood moons fell on the creation calendar. So evidently God is using this calendar to, he gave us the alarm in 2014 and 2015, right? So this is the calendar I'm going to be looking at, the Torah calendar. And you know what's amazing? I was given 4 words, right? Water, okay, and water is used in the Bible. Okay, references, the number of references to water in the Bible is 722. No surprises there. There's an upside down code, okay, in the Mona Lisa, which Leonardo da Vinci had left. Lion, 7. Again, amazing. Then you had, I'd put out this hilarious, 722 redemption. It's actually part of the bankruptcy code. It's really funny because this is talking about redemption of vehicles, etc. That just go through it. I've left the link before, but it's really hilarious that this speaks of 722 redemption, okay, in the bankruptcy code in America. And here you have the Mona Lisa lion in 722. But now look at this, okay? Let's take a look at the Torah calendar for the Feast of Tabernacles or Sukkot. You know that Sukkot has 8 days in total. The last great day is called Shemini Atzeret. Okay, the last great day, the solemn assembly. Now, let's take a look at John. All right, because in John chapter 7, okay, after these things Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now this, look at the heading, Jesus at the Feast of Booths, which is Sukkot, which is Tabernacles, all right? Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand, exactly what I just said. Now his brethren His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples may also see thy works, see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou doest these things, show thyself to the world. They're basically mocking him. Okay? For neither did his brethren believe in him. Then Jesus said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. So do you see that? Your time is always ready. He's rebuking them. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Go ye up unto this feast. I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. Okay? Now, if we scroll down, you'll see in verse 10, but when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. Now we know when the rapture happens, he comes as a thief in the night. It's not going to be openly, but it'll be as it were in secret. Okay, and when did this take place? When did he go into the feast, as it were in secret? The midst of the feast. The midst of the feast, that's when the Lord came into Jerusalem, went through the temple and started teaching, but he went up not openly, but as it were in secret, right? Right. So you see, I also got the fourth day. These are the 4 words I got, okay? The first was water, all right, as I've shown you. Then Mona Lisa, okay, the water held the code because there's 722 references to water. Second was Mona Lisa. I had no idea that it held the code of lion 722, left by Da Vinci in the painting of Mona Lisa. And then of course, while searching, I found 722 redemption, which I found hilarious, okay? But now, 722, I've told you, is Shemini Atzeret, all right? That is the 7th spiritual month and the 22nd day. But I also got the 4th day, and there is a 4th day in Sukkot, which also happens to be the 4th day, or Yom Rabi, okay, Tuesday sunset to Wednesday sunset, on the Torah calendar, okay? And this just happens to be 17 September to 18 September, but I'm not looking at the dates per se. I'm trying to tell you that there is a midst of the feast, okay? When Jesus came up to Jerusalem, as it were in secret, he came up to Jerusalem in the midst of the feast, and I've got the 4th day. The Sukkot, the day 4, is exactly in the middle of the feast because it's an 8-day festival. Okay, you have from Sukkot day 1 to day 8, which is Shemini Atzeret, and you have day 4. As I've shown you in my previous video, that, I did this astonishing Menorah revelation where I saw that, the Menorah, the pillar of God is in the middle. The first 3 feasts were fulfilled by Jesus in his first coming. The second 3 will be fulfilled by Jesus, on the second coming. So all feasts are moving towards the pillar of God. So there's, 1, 2, 3 from this side moving towards the pillar of God. And there's 1, 2, 3 from this side. So that the last festival, which is Sukkot, would be the first to be fulfilled from this side because everything moves towards the pillar of God. So I've shown that in my previous video, but excuse me, I'll leave a link in the description box, the Astonishing Menorah Revelation, okay, the Messianic events, the sequence of Messianic events. And go through that because now I've been getting the 4th day ever since I got Genesis 1:19, the code, okay, that says in the evening and the morning were the 4th day. And this is amazing because Sukkot does have a 4th day and it's right in the midst of the feast, okay? And if you look at John, that's when Jesus went up in the midst of the feast. And he went, as it were, in secret, okay? So take a look at this. I found it extremely interesting. And what's even more important is let's not stray from the ancient paths. The warning in Jeremiah 6:16. I think this is amazing. All right, thank you so much, and I feel so blessed that I'm surrounded by brothers and sisters who will not let me go wrong, who will correct me if they see me going wrong. Thank you, Sister K. This is an incredible message that you sent me. Totally clarified me on the new moons and the full moons. Okay, there's total clarification now. I have no doubt in my mind anymore. And yes, this is the creation calendar is what I'm going to be looking at. Okay, when we are searching out the matter. All right. So So God bless you, and